Welcome to another video. Landscape photography today. I'm in the beautiful North Yorkshire Moors. If you know, you know. So I thought I'd come up here today to do a bit of landscape photography, but also to talk about just what sort of photographer am I. Something, if you follow my Instagram at @RyanHunter_photography, you'll have seen a couple of videos I've posted recently about this internal struggle I'm having about the type of photographer that I am and the content that I want to produce. And I want to talk to you and to myself about why I do photography and what it means to me. Not who I do it for, not what's the commercial value of what I do, but why do I do photography? Why did I get into it? Because I think I've lost my way a bit recently, over the last few months. So I want to get into that as well, and why sometimes thinking that you belong in a niche kind of limits your creativity. Before that, I want to get some gloves on because it's bloody cold. On the way up, I stopped in to North Allerton, to Joe Carrins Gallery, because unfortunately the galleries are closing down on this Friday, 22nd of December. So if you're in the area, in and around North Yorkshire, highly recommend go and look at the galleries, support them for one last week, because sadly they've had to close them down. But while I was there, I had the honour of meeting Joe Carrins himself, arguably Britain's finest landscape photographer, and I sat and had a chat with him and one of his mates. Quick shot then, this lovely scene behind me. Struggled to find a composition there from the path. I'll pop it on the screen, but I quite like the colour in the trees here in the foreground, and then just the layers heading back there towards the moors. Nothing cracking, but I have the camera out the bag. So anyway, back to talking. So, and then so I had a great conversation with Joe Carrins. What a privilege to speak to a man who's literally at the top of the game, but also his friend who he was speaking to, a gent called Paul Berriff, who might be the most interesting man I've ever spoken to in my entire life. Wow, it's pretty here. Paul's a factual filmmaker and documentary maker, and he's worked on stuff from Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, and he was also telling me his own story about how he survived the Twin Towers whilst he was making a documentary. Awe-inspiring stuff. But what I got from it was, he knows why he does this. Storytelling. That's why he does it. He just wants to tell stories. It's the same with Joe, his why. He just wants to take landscape photographs. He doesn't want the business side of it, the commercial side of it. He wants the photography. And I kind of needed to speak to those two today to put things in perspective for me a little bit. It's pretty steep up here. Heading up to the top. No idea what I'm going to find. What a treat up here. The light is something else. Don't know where I am. I'll put it on the screen. Oh, I'm over here. Don't know where I am. I'll put it on the screen. But the light over here, let me show you this. Oh, I don't do it anywhere near as much justice on the GoPro. Beautiful golden light. I'm going to try and grab a composition here. I think with this path leading us into, with this path here leading us into the hills over there with those golden glows. It's a pretty massive dynamic range in this shot though, so I might have to bracket the exposure, but let's give this a go. It's a bit windier on the top as well. I've stopped filming on the GoPro, the battery died, it was doing my head in, it's taking my attention away from this stunning landscape. But I've found a really nice composition that I like, using this path, S-bend all the way down into the distance, those distance trees. I'm going to focus stack, I'm going to focus on this path here because I want this in focus. I'm at f11, I'm at 100th of a shutter speed, ISO 250. And it's just still now, so it's perfect conditions. I'm just waiting for the light to kick off through those clouds and bring this landscape up. But yeah, focus stacking at f10 on the foreground, and then again in the distance, just to make sure everything's tack sharp. I'm at 24mm, as wide open as this lens goes, at the 24-70, and I think I'm going to really like this image. So I'll pop it on screen. Let me know what you think. Anyway, so I suppose I better get to the whole point of this video, aren't I? I'm just walking around. I mean, it's hard to take your eyes off this. I know it is for me. I mean, I've just found these rocks, but I don't think there's a photograph there. Anyway, shut up. To the point of the video. So, yeah, what type of photographer am I? Like, I honestly wrestle with this on a daily basis, more than that. It could be hourly some days. Suppose commercially, where I earn money through photography is wedding photography. Do I particularly like wedding photography? I love doing wedding photography. I love being at weddings. I love capturing emotion. I love shooting weddings. Am I drawn to looking at wedding photographs? Not really. My portraiture work, I like to have intrigue in an image. I love exposing for the highlights, so the brighter part of the image, and then having the darker part of the image drop off into shadow. So that style comes across in my wedding photography, and that's the sort of stuff I share on Instagram. But that's not the sort of stuff that wins you weddings, because it's not weddingy, supposedly. I also love landscape photography. I don't claim to be a good landscape photographer. In fact, I'm not a good landscape photographer. I'm all right at it. I'm getting better, going out scouting, doing stuff like this, but if a scene presents itself to me, I know how to technically take that photograph and probably get a good image out of that scene. But I'm not a great landscape photographer by any means. I'm not even a good landscape photographer, but I love it. I love taking landscape photographs. Product photography, I've done a bit of that, don't really get me going. But street photography, I love street photography as well. So what type of photographer am I? I generally don't know. I'm just a photographer. I want my images to come across to the viewer so that you can see the scene, how I'm interpreting it in my mind at that time. That's exactly the type, that's what I want my photographs to do. I want them to portray how I see the world. Not how I think. I don't want to create images anymore that I think, will other people like this? Because quite frankly, that's way out of my control. You see things on social media, you see what the in thing is at the time, and you try and go off and create that image. That's not photography, that's imitating someone else's images because you think someone else might like them. If you don't like them, what's the point in producing those images? Unless you're on a specific commercial job where the client has given you an exact brief of what that wants to look like, why are you creating art that you think other people will like if you don't like it yourself? I'm trying my very hardest at the minute to share the images that make me proud, that I love, that I've loved creating, that mean something to me, so that I can, if I love an image enough to share it to the world, I don't really care if other people don't like it, because I do. And I've got the thrill out of taking that photograph, of seeing it through my eye, editing it, feeling this is how I felt when I took the photograph. That to me is why I do this. That's the creative, that's the art form of it. That's my escape. If I then share that to the world and I'm proud enough for everyone else to see it, then I don't really care if everyone else likes it, because I do, and it means something to me. So I'm just going to try and stop sharing what I think everyone else wants to see, because quite frankly, it's out of my control. And a lot of photographers do that, especially when we earn money through our cameras. We take the shots that we think everyone else wants. And that's not why I got into photography. I've gone back up to full time at work, so I'm taking the pressure off photography to try and earn me a living. It's not about that for me anymore. I feel, wow, it's beautiful over there. I'm gonna go get some shots of these trees in a minute. Where was I? Yeah, photography for me now is about expressing myself and expressing the world through how I see it. And I just love that I can capture that in a frame, in a single frame, and I can share that and go, do you know what, this is how I see the world. So what type of photographer am I? I don't know. I'm just a photographer. I'm a photographer who shoots weddings. I'm a photographer who shoots landscapes. I'm a photographer who shoots street, who shoots whatever I want to shoot at the time. But I am a photographer because that's my art form. That thing over there on the tripod lets me express to whoever will fucking look at it how I see the world, and I need to take the pressure off myself by doing it. So don't limit yourself to one thing. Don't find your niche, man, and double down on that. Just shoot what makes you happy, and it'll come across in your images. The images that you're passionate about, people will know about it. The images that are like, blah, I saw someone do that on Instagram, so I shot that, then they're not going to make you feel anything. Maybe 5 seconds of validation when 10 people like it because it's trendy. It's not about that. Shoot what you want. Create the art that you want to consume. Right. I have found a composition here that I do like, actually, using these rocks. I'm just trying to get rid of this little sun star out of my thing. I'll have to get it out in post. Basically, I've got the camera wide open at 24 mil, which is the widest this lens will go. Just having this rock here on the left hand side of the frame, it's just really beautifully glowing now. And there's the contrast of these reddy orange ferns and the trees, and in the background, it's really quite nice. So I quite like that frame, actually. So I'm just going to focus that, because the rocks are quite close. I'm just going to focus one on the rock, one in the trees in the background. I might try and move up slightly and drop my aperture to try and get a bit of a sunburst as well. I'm smiling because this is the sort of thing that just gets me happy. This is just turned out to be an absolutely phenomenal day. I'll pop them up on the screen, let me know what you think, and then it's probably not far from sunset now, so I'm going to start heading back because it'll get pretty dark on these moors, and I get a bit scared. Well, that's me done now. Light's gone, sun's gone in. It's nice to be on this side of the hill. It's there's no wind at all now. So that's me, just back down here to the car park. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't know what it was really. Was it where's the camera? Where's there? I don't know, was it a photography one? Was it a philosophical one? I don't really know. But I've enjoyed making it. I guess the key message it goes back to my conversation earlier on when I got to meet Joe Cornish and Paul Berriff. Just find your why. Do what makes you happy. Take the shots you want to take and create the art you want to create. You can't control if the world likes it. So I'm just going to keep taking photos because that's what I love doing. And if people get joy out of them, amazing. But if I get joy out of taking them and editing them and how it made me feel at the time, then that's half the battle won, isn't it? That's the full battle won. It's nice to make a bit of dough though, isn't it? But anyway, I hope you like that one, and I guess this is it now until Christmas, isn't it? So, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, and a Happy New Year. Oh yeah, and like and subscribe. Peace.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex.